Hello everybody, my name is Sven and today we're going to shortly talk about Star Wars. Okay, well, so this is not a gaming video, or this is not recorded in my usual setup for other stuff kind of videos. I just wanted to do something different today. And why is that? Because I've just come back from a 26-hour marathon of Star Wars, the first ever 26-hour marathon of Star Wars, all 9 movies, all after each other, and I gotta say, it was pretty epic to watch all these movies on the big screen. I have only ever seen Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker on the big screen, which is obviously not the best choice for a Star Wars theater movie. But hey, I thought when I get the chance to watch the Duel of the Fates and to watch Obi-Wan and Anakin go at each other in fucking the biggest screen possible, and of course the entire original trilogy, well, I was down for that. And so I went to the Skywalker Saga marathon, which was quite fun. Apart from normal theaters who mainly did episode 1 to 9, the movie theater I was at did 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, which was a bit odd, but it was nice to see how everyone in the entire world experienced it when they first got when they first got the chance to meet these characters and this franchise, which was phenomenally awesome to see. And I loved the audience in my theater, because normally I am like, everyone has to be silent because, well, you want to focus on the movie and you want to see everything that happens. But the audience I was watching it with, well, they were silent for the most part, but not the entire time, which was phenomenal. Everyone laughed with "Hello there." Everyone cried with Order 66. Everyone was cheering when he said, "Luke, I am your father." And everyone was screaming in anger when she said that she was raised Skywalker, which to this day I still think is bullshit. But hey, that's that. And well, the theater and the audience I was watching it with, they were just like, whenever a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And then silence, and everyone was just gearing up, and then and everyone just like, "What? Yeah!" If you want to see me, if you want to see what I mean, because you can't believe it, it's actually like this. Yeah, it was awesome. I really, really loved that. Apart from the things that were good, there were also some things that were bad. Mainly their delivery on food. They had like an hour, and they were working with a restaurant nearby to give us food for a reduced price. And they didn't let everyone go there. You had to sign into that, and I was one of the first people to sign in on that because I thought, well, that's fucking easy. I should just go through that. And it was good. And well, we had an hour and we had 2 options: satay, or just peanut stuff, or a burger. And I chose a burger, and it was like, well, and now I only have 10 minutes left. And I was the first one to get my food. So there were like people who missed half of the movie after that. It was the Phantom Menace. It didn't bother a lot of people that much. It was the Phantom Menace. But still. And that's actually what I wanted to talk about. Because obviously I have always heard about this hate for the prequels, about how everyone just loved the original trilogy. And when the prequels came out, they were absolute trash. They were monstrosities to the Star Wars universe. How could they make bullshit like that when it was just mostly an animated movie with just Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen doing stuff on it, sometimes even with Samuel L. Jackson? It was horrendous, and whatever the fuck was Jar Jar Binks. That's all I could hear. But then the rest of this came, and well, there were the adults watching the prequels, and there were children watching the prequels. And now the children watching the prequels have grown up to be men like me, which is awesome because I genuinely like the prequels. And I have to say, The Phantom Menace, the more I watch the movie, the more I understand what it is. And I will get to that. The Attack of the Clones, it's a bad movie. Just the entire last hour is pretty good, but it's just the way around it and the way to get there, it's just pretty bland and pretty boring. And then we have Revenge of the Sith, which is, in my honest opinion, the best Star Wars movie. And I know the discussion between Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back, because Empire Strikes Back was this culmination of what happened in the 80s, and I get that, but still, I really do feel like Revenge of the Sith did it better as a franchise film. Empire Strikes Back is it's an insanely well-made movie. And if we look at the facts, Empire Strikes Back did more with a less budget than Revenge of the Sith did with more of a budget. So if you look at those two movies from a filmmaking standpoint, Empire Strikes Back is miles better. Miles. Revenge of the Sith used CGI, and the acting was sometimes pretty iffy, and the script is quite horrendous, considering all the memes that were made out of it, apart from the entire last half of the movie, because that was great as well. But then I can see why The Empire Strikes Back is a better movie factually, but not when you look to opinions, because The Revenge of the Sith, it has everything you want. It has everything you have known for 40 years, basically. It builds on that, and it shows you two characters that you have come to like. Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. Everybody hated Anakin Skywalker, but they wanted to see Darth Vader come to that presence, and then they started to like him. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the best castings I've ever seen, one of the best characters I've ever seen, and I really, really, really love that. And to see those two battle each other to the death was just phenomenally well made. The music, the Mustafar, everything, that alone, together with Order 66, which may very well be one of the absolute best plot twists ever made in a franchise, and I stand by that. No one saw coming what Order 66 was about to be, I think, and what it was going to do. Everyone knew there was something coming. Everyone knew there was something on the horizon to kill off all the Jedi. But no one could ever understand what Order 66 was until we first saw it, and up until this day, and they still make new things with Order 66 implanted in it. It's still better and better and better and better. So yeah, Revenge of the Sith, it has done so many things great for the prequels, to make the prequels better, and that's what I actually wanted to talk about in this video. It's just, the prequels were pretty bad when they came out, but do you guys also feel like they have become better because of all the content that has been made after they were made? Like, the original Star Wars trilogy was great in and of itself. The prequels built on that and made the originals better. And then we have the prequel trilogy. Everyone thought it was bad. Like, you have a Clone Wars setup, and then you have the Clone Wars climax, but everything in between was not there. They talked about Sifo Dyas. Who the fuck is that guy? They talked about so many things, and Trade Federation, and Qui-Gon Jinn, and Anakin Skywalker's descent to the dark side, and the mother, and that Leia could feel her mother, and she was sad all the time. How did that all work? Well, the prequels were made. And then, why were some things happening, and why was this love so forbidden, was this love between Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala really so secret, or did they just don't care? How big was this love? How big was this fight? How big was this Clone Wars? Who's General Grievous, and why does everybody suddenly know who this guy is? There you have the Clone Wars, and that's just insane. And I am actually still not sure if it's the right way to do it. And I want your honest opinion on that, because I want to know how you think about it. I mean, the prequel trilogy, you have a mediocre movie, a bad/mediocre movie and a fucking great movie. But the mediocre movie and the mediocre bad movie has become better over time, mostly because of the fans that were watching it as a child grew up, but also because of all the extra information that people could watch if they wanted in the name of series with the Bad Batch, the Bad Batch, the Clone Wars, and other shows like that. They made it actually better, and they built on the story. And if you rewatch the prequel saga or the prequels, they are better because you know what happened in between those films. And I want to know, I feel like that is a genius move on the part of Lucasfilm and Star Wars to do it like that and to build on these stories. And I am 100% sure that they are going to do it with the sequels too. It's just incredibly awesome to see that they made it better. Is it the right way to do it? No, because you have bad movies, they're gonna make better by adding extra story to them to just make it make sense, which is not the best way to do it, and I am not a fan of doing stuff like that, but come on. What they added to those movies, they definitely were good. And there were some shit things, like the first season of The Bad Batch, which was just not that great, or the first season of The Clone Wars, which was just not that great. But then you also have the last season of The Clone Wars, with the 4 episodes of Ahsoka and the 2 sisters, which were the best. No, I'm joking, that was also ass. But the last 4 episodes of The Clone Wars, which is the best Star Wars media I've ever seen. I just feel like this is insane. How is it possible to make a franchise as mediocre as you have, not a franchise, but the prequel trilogy, as mediocre as you can have it, and then just say, well, it's not done. We have a lot of story what came in between. We're going to do that over the coming 15 years, and then it will be good. And the fans, it's like this meme I once heard, or this sentence, and I don't know if it came from Star Wars or came from something else, but it says like, well, you may not understand it, you may not like it, but your kids, they're gonna love it. And I think that comes from Star Wars. I think that comes from the behind the scenes of Star Wars, and maybe the prequels even. I link it to that the most. And I am quite scared for that same thing with the sequels, talking about it, because, well, the adults, the people our age that watched the prequels, thought it was bad, and then now have a lot of story to make them make better, and the children who were children at the release of those movies are now people like me right now, and now are loving these things, and now are thinking the prequel trilogy is quite good on its own. But now we still have the same thing with the sequels, because the sequels we are the adults with the sequels, and there are a bunch of kids that will love the sequel trilogy, and maybe even think that is good too, in some extent, in the future. I don't know how far, because there is a lot of controversy with those sequels, with the story that they made. Where the prequels had a cohesive story, just with lots of big chapters just thrown out of it. The sequels just threw most of it away, then made A New Hope, Part 2, then made something entirely else, which was quite interesting on its own, a little bit boring, but still very interesting to see. And then they didn't like it, and they made an entirely different 9th movie, which was not even concluding anything that we have seen before. So if they are gonna give that the same treatment for making the sequels better, to just add more content into these things, I have seen that they started doing it with some bits and pieces in The Mandalorian and stuff like that, which is interesting to see. And with the Bad Batch, with the entire cloning program outside of the clone troopers, probably working its way up until we can actually see Palpatine making clones of himself. So yeah, I am 100% sure they are also going to try to just smack these things in our faces. Am I ready for it? Yeah, let it come. Hopefully it makes the sequels better. And do I give them a pass this time to do it? I don't think so. They can do it, but I will keep thinking the sequels are just not that great. Because, well, you could get away with it one time. Because that was a very interesting part of the story of Star Wars, and everyone wanted to know what has came before. What is this Clone Wars Lucas talking about, and what is these other stuff, and who are these characters, and what did Yoda do, and is he really that big of a grandmaster in the Jedi art and the Jedi knighthood? That was great because everyone wanted to know what happened before the Clone Wars and what happened before the original trilogy. What made sure there was a war in the first place. But that story was done, and then they made the sequels and they added more story to it. After that, it didn't make any fucking sense. So to now make it make sense, it's gonna be very, very difficult. And I will salute Star Wars for trying, and I will salute them for doing stuff like that. But is it not just better to drop that and just make something new? Like The Acolyte, I saw a teaser for it. Looked phenomenal, looked great, and is something outside of the Skywalker Saga. Do stuff like that. Make an entirely new thing. The entire thing they are doing with all these series, with Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, or Book of Mandalorian, basically, and Ahsoka, building it all up until the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, building that thing up until the Heir to the Empire movie. That's what I wanted to see. That's story in between, which is awesome, which can lead up to the sequels, which can make the sequels better. But it's not the main focus, because I am scared that Disney wants to shoehorse the sequels into our faces with everything that they did, and they are going to do it because Rey's coming back for an episode 10, and I'm just scared that they're just going to shoehorse or try to do some more things to make it better. And after a while, I am afraid that Disney's just gonna shoot in its own foot with it, and then it doesn't make sense anymore. And then we can be scared for Skywalker Saga and for just Star Wars in general. Is it gonna be the same? I don't know. They had a pass with the prequels because the prequels were the prequels were very much asked for, and then we got the sequels. So yeah, that was what I wanted to talk about. That's everything I have to say. What's your opinion on this? Do you want more of these just talk videos? Please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really, really excited to hear what you have to say about this. And I want to thank you for watching, and I can just say one thing. May the Force be with you.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
That timing was great! Nice!